Hey everybody, and welcome to another edition of Out Today and What I Missed, this time for Halloween, October 31st, 2025. This week is a rare week for Out Today and What I Missed. I'll be covering 21 albums, as I recently discovered that one of my previous albums that I covered has actually been pushed back to January, so technically I do have one album available for 2026 reviews already, so I'm ahead of the game. But to get back to getting 940 albums in 2025 so far, I gotta add one, and I'm already backed up, so why not make it for Halloween? We have 18 brand new albums that come out today, and 3 that I missed along the way. I've already dilly-dallied too long, let's get into it. First up, we have Aquilla with Sentinels of New Dawn. The sophomore album from this Polish outfit is everything you love about new wave of British heavy metal, from the vocal tones to the fast-paced riffing to the near speed metal tendencies that you come to expect from the 21st century aspects of the genre. What makes the band stand out is the thematics of the band, focusing on sci-fi, making what feels like a retro future aesthetic that really should appeal to a lot of people looking for something in this style. The production is vintage and feels just modern enough to have some punch to it. And the songwriting, while feeling grand in scale, never overstays its welcome. This is a fun, all guns blazing affair that any classic metal fan should enjoy. If you're looking for something like this, give this one a spin. Next up, we have Archaic Thorn with Malicious Spears. The sophomore album from this German band is pure, unadulterated 80s death metal. While you will hear a bit more melody and harmony than you would for other bands in the genre, both of the classic era and what's going on now, don't think that means that the music is any less death metal in any way. With its visceral attack, this makes for some of the most well-balanced death metal I've come across all year. While the production is raw and primitive, that is clearly by design. Imagine Morbid Angel if they did more melodies and harmonies, or if Eternum wasn't nearly as technical, then you would have Archaic Thorn. If you want some OSDM sound, but just different enough, this will be for you. Now we have Avatar with Don't Go in the Forest. Full transparency, I've never actively checked out Avatar until this year, and I'm actually pleasantly surprised. I may have heard a song or two in the past and not realized it was them, or completely forgot that I've listened to them. But this is the first time I've actually went out of my way to hear them, and it hits a niche that I was not expecting, and I'll definitely go back and check out their past catalog. Their earliest work was more on the melodic side of things, but the band has become more commercial over the years, and that is not a bad thing. If it's what the band wants to do, they should be allowed to. That said, there are still early day sounds of that melodeath going on here, and it's quite strong with their influences of In Flames and The Haunted. I also hear some industrial, I hear some new metal in the veins of Slipknot and Rammstein. I also hear some more theatrical moments of bands like King Diamond to My Chemical Romance. This is quite the unpredictable band, at least on my first experience anyway, and it's nice to see a band wear their influences on their sleeve and still find a way to make it their own. Match all of that together with 2000s production style, and you have an album that has a little bit of something for everybody. If you don't like variety and have a particular style you enjoy, Avatar's not going to be the band for you. For everyone else, the band is releasing a killer album that is more than worthy of your attention. Even if you're like me, checking them out for the first time. Next up is Barren Path with Grieving. From the ashes of my favorite grind band, Gridlink, comes Barren Path. While featuring almost everyone from the final lineup of Gridlink, Barren Path features Mitchell Luna of Shock Withdrawal to do vocals, and this lineup is devastating. While the sound of the band is going to draw some Gridlink comparisons, how could it not? Barren Path is much more of the death grind side of things, rather than the over-the-top insanity of the technical grindcore that Gridlink was. But make no mistake, the abilities from everyone in this band is 11 out of 10, and they lay waste to everything in their path. The album is short at 12 tracks, and the longest song coming in at 1 minute and 43 seconds, but not 1 second is wasted. This is by far my favorite grind album of any kind in 2025, and it doesn't even come close. If you want grindcore with substance and sheer brutality, check out Barren Path. Up now, we have Burned in Effigy with Tyrannus, Aeternum. In a combination of sounds I've been waiting for all year, the sophomore album from the Chicago band takes the best elements of neoclassical musicianship and melodeath tendencies to make a band that feels sophisticated and heavy. In what feels like a grandiose mix of Ex Mortis, the Black Dahlia Murder, and Revocation, Burned in Effigy has created an album that hits so hard, from its riffs to its attacks to its themes, and they have made an album that could easily stand the test of time. I wish more bands were more focused on this side of metal, where you can write compositions that feel like a symphony would have written centuries ago, but still have it feel relevant today. The production is exactly what it should be, and the songwriting more than carries its weight in gold. This is easily for anyone who wants to hear something on the more extreme end of things, but wants it done in a way that even a classical composer could sit down, listen to, and appreciate what they hear. Don't let this one go under the radar. This album rules, and you deserve to hear something this good in all its glory. Next up, we have Creeper with Sanguivore 2, Mistress of Death. My first foray into this English band, and I am beyond intrigued. I've never heard of this band before now, and I seem to be in the minority as their social media numbers are quite impressive. Combining so many elements of horror, punk, gothic, glam, post-punk, darkwave, and more to create a band that feels grand, theatrical, and a tribute to everything of the macabre. The production is stellar and it hits everything in just the right ways. And the songwriting, while diverse, all fits together like a sewn-together glove that you don't want to take off. You're not often going to find a band that goes from Ghosts to the Sisters of Mercy to Unto Others to Meatloaf, but that's what you get right here. This is another album where, if you are so against the mainstream that you should probably steer clear of this one, but for everyone else, this feels like a 2025 version of Rocky Horror Picture Show. You will either fall in love with it, or you will despise it, but after hearing it, you will never forget the name of Creeper. Now we have Defecto with Echoes of Isolation. Defecto is a criminally underappreciated band here in the States, and if the fourth album from this Danish band isn't proof of that, nothing will be. This is exactly what 2025 progressive metal should be in every single way. As a concept album that explores mental health and the ailments that come from it, it matches each song to a different ailment to match how it feels to deal with said issues, to the musicianship on hand that only gives you more of a reason to check it out. This is an album with a message, and with its message that is so near and dear to me. I mean, honestly, if you know me, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Even if you just care about the music alone, imagine a mix of Borealis, Evergrey, and Symphony X, and you'll start to get an idea of what this band is all about. In a world of prog metal that is all about chops or nostalgia of better days, check out a progressive metal band that shoots straight from the heart, and they can still play as fine as the legends of the genre. Don't skip out on this one, pick it up right now. Now we have Despised Icon with Shadow Work. The seventh album from this legendary Canadian deathcore band captures the band at their most fine-tuned, and they are ready to destroy. All of the best elements of the band has brought to the table over the past 23 years now is here on full display, with a just updated enough sound to make it more impactful for 2025. Thematically, this is a deep album about mental struggles, personal growth, and trying to find the strength to get through the current state of the world. The production is devastating and impactful. The songwriting hits all the great moments of the band while doing the occasional left of center turn, and the overall consistency of the album makes this a deathcore album that is more than worthy of your attention. If only every deathcore band could sound like Despised Icon. If you need an album that sounds like this to get through this thing that we call life in 2025, check out Shadow Work. It just may help ease the pain. Here we have Embraced by Darkness with Infernus. The debut album from this Dutch black metal band brings back the spirit of the unholy sound of the genre while adding many hypnotizing melodies and harmonies that'll bring you into the underground. Featuring past and present members of Wintersin, Bowel Rupture, and Shell Shock. This is a band that channels their love of black metal but still adds elements of death metal to go alongside the band's exploration of the traditional black metal sound, atmospheric black metal, and mellow black tendencies. The production is rough, but that also feels intentional effect to bring back some of that nostalgic feel that 90s and underground black metal had. Of course, the songwriting is an incredible display of showcasing what can be done on the base level of black metal and building upon it. The lyrical content, well, let's just say it's perfect that it came out today. It conjures up its blasphemy on a rewarding platter. Overall, it's the kind of black metal that feels authentic to the original sound, but it balances it out just enough with twists and turns to make it their own. If you need something of that sense, check out Embraced by Darkness. This is what nostalgic black metal is all about. Here we have Embraced by Darkness with Infernus. The debut album from this Dutch black metal band brings back the spirit of the unholy sound of the genre while adding many hypnotizing melodies and harmonies that'll bring you into the underground. Featuring past and present members of Wintersin, Bowel Rupture, and Shell Shock. This is a band that channels their love of black metal but still adds elements of death metal to go alongside the band's exploration of the traditional black metal sound, atmospheric black metal, and mellow black tendencies. The production is rough, but that also feels intentional effect to bring back some of that nostalgic feel that 90s and underground black metal had. Of course, the songwriting is an incredible display of showcasing what can be done on the base level of black metal and building upon it. The lyrical content, well, let's just say it's perfect that it came out today. It conjures up its blasphemy on a rewarding platter. Overall, it's the kind of black metal that feels authentic to the original sound, but it balances it out just enough with twists and turns to make it their own. If you need something of that sense, check out Embraced by Darkness. This is what nostalgic black metal is all about. Now we have Lunatic Soul, or Lunatic Soul if you want to be the correct pronunciation of this, with The World Under Unsun. The 8th solo album from Marius Duda of Riverside is a hard-hitting double album that captures your interest from beginning to end. It's the kind of album that if you enjoy the music, hits hard with its message, and for that style of music, it's quite heavy. All of the albums to date have been connected conceptually, too long to get into a blurb review like this, but it's a dark story of both introspection and the world around us. The World Under Unsun is the final album of the story, wrapping everything up but still going as a flashback, as this is non-linear storytelling. The music never goes into true progressive rock or metal like Riverside has done, and it keeps to a more broad approach to the music. It has everything from pop, to synthwave, to ambient, to world music, and is showcased here in some way, but it still all fits together. The production on this one is rich and grand, which is essential for this style, and the songwriting feels like this grandiose mix of adventure, and that's just for this double album alone, let alone trying to connect it to the previous 7 albums. This won't be for everyone, and arguably not even for some Riverside fans, but if you like to get out of your own heavy boundaries and just appreciate some deep music that pulls at your heartstrings, this band has all of that and more. As the music is non-linear, you can start with any album if you never have before, but just know what you're getting into ahead of time. And hey, why not start out with this one if you've never checked them out before? It's an incredible ride. Now we have Mystic Circle with Hexenbrand 1486. After releasing a nearly complete covers album, with a couple original songs along with it, Germany's Mystic Circle is back with their 10th LP, and it's a cool thing to see. Following their legacy of ups and downs and course correction in genres and more, the band is back in 2025 with their blend of mellow black and mellow death to create an album that has their perfect release date of Halloween. The production is just raw enough without sounding cheap and clear enough to hear everything that's going on. The songwriting is inspired and haunting from track to track. The band has always been one of those bands that has been around but never talked about enough like their peers, but they deserve to be. If you enjoy the likes of Old Man's Child, Theatre des Vampires, and Nagelfar, you need Mystic Circle. Put this one on tonight for any trick-or-treaters, and if you're going to a Halloween party, put this on to set the mood. Next up, we have The Other with Alienated, the 10th album and my first foray into this German horror punk band known as The Other, and I am in love. This is the kind of punk music that I've always gravitated towards since I discovered the Misfits all those years ago. Discovering my love of punk over the last few years all over again, it's awesome hearing bands keeping that spirit of fun, catchy horror punk and making it their own is something that I'm always going to be in favor of. This is an album that can channel everything from the 70s origins of the genre to Meatloaf style choruses to 80s vibes that hit hard on the nostalgia, but feels so good. The production feels so good to the ears and the songwriting is endlessly catchy. This is an album that feels like it's for anyone who can appreciate good, fun, catchy music, but with that dark twist. If that's you, put this one on tonight for the trick-or-treaters, or your adult friends at that Halloween party I mentioned before. You'll be glad that you did. Now we have Outlaw with Opus Mortis. You would think this would be some kind of country western type music in the vein of Desperado, right? Especially with a name like that? Wrong. This is the 4th album from this Brazilian turned German band, and they have embraced the dark side of black metal even more so with Opus Mortis. This hits everything that you love about 2nd and 3rd wave black metal, but done with their own nuances and style. The production feels like 1995, and the songwriting matches it in the veins of Dissection, Necrophobic, and Blaze of Perdition. While not reinventing the wheel with the genre, they don't need to. It's authentic and filled with dread like any classic black metal should be. If that's what you need right now, check out Outlaw and what they're all about and see if they are for you. Now we have Red Shark with Sudden Impact. I'm gonna keep this one short and sweet. This is the sophomore album from the Spanish band, and it's that classic sound that you know and love, but done with an authentic enthusiasm that you just love to see. It hits all the tropes that you want from the sound of speed metal, heavy metal, and power metal, and it's done with excellent musicianship and passion. Nothing is overdone on this one, and it feels like everything is done with great balance. The production is pure 1985 and feels real. If you enjoy the likes of early day Sabotage, Metal Church, Razor, and Exciter, Red Shark has you covered, and it makes for such a great time. Give this one a proper spin. Next up, we have Soraya Sign with Shadows of the Dying Sign. The sophomore album from the Swedish band hits that sweet spot of melody, harmony, catchy, and just heavy enough to create an album that fills a void that is missing in a lot of this type of music. The fact that I can hear the classics of bands like Whitesnake, Rainbow, and Iron Maiden, but they still add enough of the modern sound for those 2010s and onward sounds to make this a band that knows how to push forward into the future, but still pay tribute to the past. The production has that big 80s sound that works in any favor, and it's just as catchy as anything that you would hear from that time period. But again, it's the occasional modern aspects that makes the album truly stand out. If you love melodic rock, AOR, classic metal, Soraya Sign is here doing something that more bands need to push for, the past and the present. Next up, we have Stillbirth with Survival Protocol. It takes a lot for me to like a band that is primarily focused on brutal death metal, but that's exactly what's being done here with the 9th album from this legendary German band. They've learned over time that it's more than just doing slams and breakdowns, as that can be quite boring, and you need to make the music fun. That's what this album is. It's a very fun album. A very dark album as well, but it's fun to listen to. There are so many left of center moments that you will never expect as a first time listener, and that makes this all the more reason to go check it out, especially if it is your first time. The production is bombastic and clean, and the songwriting, while seemingly all over the place, is very intricate and deliberate in its delivery. There's also so much melody and harmony going on that you would never expect from a brutal death metal band. If you want a gateway band into the genre, Stillbirth is that band, and they deserve your love. Next up is Thorn with Various. 5 albums into this German black metal band's career, and they have a lasting impression. And with this album, they continue that path. Rather than resting on their laurels, the band continues to expand their sound while keeping the darkness fully intact. They've added elements of synthesizers and saxophone that may feel sacrilege to black metal, but to me, it's added layers that only heighten the music's atmosphere and makes everything so much more intriguing. The production on this one is wonderful and lets you hear every layer as it should be. If you enjoy newer bands like Volk, Cavane, and Amiensis, and if you enjoy the classics of Necrophobic, Naglfar, and Dissection, you need to check out Thorn. It's the perfect season for it, and a great way to end 2025. And now for everything that I missed along the way, starting with Angel Rising and the Fall of Tel Nefera. The 4th album in 5 years from this French one-man band is a heavy whirlwind of an album. At 9 tracks and almost 35 minutes long, this feels like the perfect length to come in, destroy, and leave you wanting more. The album covers so much ground as well, from near power metal elements to death thrash to more modern and groove metal elements. The band feels like a mix of Sepultura, Gojira, Gamma Ray, and Death. It's a very distinct sound, and not many bands are going to tread on this variety and pull it off. The production gives this early day Death Sepultura sound, especially that late 80s sound, feeling like something made in the mid 80s, while occasionally having more of that modern production sound as well. For some, this will be a rough listen. For others, this is exactly what they've been waiting for. Regardless, this is a wild ride of an album and not for the faint of heart. If you need a combination like this in your life, check out Angel Rising. Next up, we have Arouse the Darkness with Lost in Grief. The sophomore album from this Polish band feels so appropriate for this time of year, mixing death doom, melodeath, and gothic overtones to make a sound that'll rip your heart out of your chest, and there is no way out of it. It's hard to find an album that gets the darkest feelings of what depression and grief truly feel like, and I'd say this is one of the finest examples of it recorded in 2025. While it does have a sense of wonder to the music, it is still layered in pure sadness, so if you know the feelings that are being shown in the music, it just may take over your emotional state. The production is human and hits hard. The songwriting strikes every chord and beat with such sadness. While not overstaying its welcome on funeral doom tempos, it actually gets quite speedy for the genre. You don't often hear blast beats in this genre, and it never loses its emotion. That is a rare feat to accomplish. Paradise Lost meets Hooded Menace meets Candlemass meets Dawn of Solace. If you need a varied yet emotional and cathartic wreck of an album, check out the latest from Arouse the Darkness. And finally today we have Remina, or Remina, with the Silver Sea. The sophomore album from this New Zealand band, which features the full lineup of the band Lightfield Reverie, has put out the surprise, atmospheric gothic doom metal album of the year. At least for me, I did not know that this band existed, despite knowing of the other bands they are part of, and of course the phenomenal and underrated project Lord of Shadows. But once I found this, there was no going back. This is everything I love about the genre, with that added emotion that you can only write in this style, and no true sorrow and heartache. This feels like being trapped in the cosmos and almost becoming at peace with it, but it will still tear your soul apart. The production is that perfect balance that you need for the genre to feel otherworldly and hit so close to home, both ethereal and clear. The songwriting hits so hard and it does not let up on the emotion. And of course, when you have Mick Moss of Antimatter and Tony Dunn of Scale to guest on a track each, these emotions are going to pour in and not let go. This is the kind of album that if you love gothic, doom, atmospheric, and cosmic overtones, there's no excuse to miss this one. This is simply one of the best doom metal albums of the year, and it deserves your love. Go check this one out. And there you go, folks, 21 albums today covered for Out Today and What I Missed for Halloween, October 31st, 2025. And now we're up to 940 albums that I've covered so far in 2025. Well, technically 941, but again, that one album is being pushed back to January, so I'll just try to forget about that for a couple months. So what'd you think? Did I cover some good albums? Did I cover some bad albums? Anything that I might have missed along the way? Please let me know down below. And of course, like, comment, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. We're well past 1,850 subscribers so far on the channel, and that is such a cool thing to see since I started picking up reviews. Thank you so much for subscribing and checking out what I do. Make sure to come back tomorrow if you want to check out all of the albums that I've covered so far in October 2025, and make sure to come back next week as we do Out Today and What I Missed for November 7th, 2025, as we cover the final month of my coverage of 2025 music before we get into the top 100 albums of 2025. But until then, for the Heavy Debriefings YouTube channel, this is Josh Runquist saying, embrace the skullet.